Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of our great country, I have an eminent Nigerian politician who is also a social crusader who happens to be in politics. He was, between 2015 and 2019, a member of the Federal House of Representatives. He actually also ran for the Edo State gubernatorial in 2023 before he supported the incumbent governor who won the election, and is currently a federal commissioner in the Code of Conduct Bureau, a law enforcement agency in the country. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources Honorable E.J. Agbonayinma.
My brother.
Good to see you on Inside Sources.
It's happy to see you again after many years. America.
Thank you so much. Exactly.
Welcome back to Nigeria.
Exactly.
We are welcome back home.
Those were the days. Those were the days when you spend longer time in America.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to our viewers out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. So, It's a conversation on the future of our country. So I normally start by asking my guests that if you look at where Nigeria is today, what kind of future do you think is ahead of the country? If you look at where we are today, where are we going?
Well, my brother, this is a huge, where do we start from here? I feel for my country. And growing up in Nigeria before I left this country to America, I wasn't born, we brought up with golden spoon. I worked with my parents. They were big farmer, cocoa farm in the village, in Edo State, in Ebowe village. I was born in the village, and growing up, I could see how things were then, how, we walk with our parents, we go to school, we go to the river to fetch water, and we are able to have food on our table. Yes, I have the opportunity to leave the village to Benin City for the very first time, leaving my parents. I was crying.
Wow.
How am I going to leave my parents to go to the city where I don't know anyone?
Was this after you left school or you?
No, I started primary school in the village, primary 1 or 2. I left.
Okay. Wow. To go
and start school again in Benin City. Because my parents wanted me to be educated, and they didn't have the opportunity, but they wanted me to have the opportunity.
Right.
I went to the best school, St. Joseph's Agbonayinma Primary School in Benin. And went to Western Boys. I was in the boarding house. I became the senior prefect of that school. And I could see how then, many years ago, we were all working together, like family. You go to church, sometimes Sunday you see, the house of different family, they cook, we all eat. We have some people that speak Yoruba, Ishan, Benin, Igbos, live in a family house, and today we have lost all that. And you go back, I remember when we were in the village where you have the health sector, where they used to come to the village to fumigate the area because of mosquito.
Right.
Even when I go back to the city, you could see them doing the same thing.
Okay.
You could see those days in Benin City, we used to, not go to the river now, we go to the tap water to fetch water.
Wow.
Water flowing.
Wow.
As at then, we didn't have borehole, as we have now. Then we used to have ECN.
Yeah.
We have street light and all that.
Electric Company of Nigeria.
Nigeria. We have NEPA. And at the time, I worked with NEPA before I left the US. But in all this put together, my brother, instead of us to be moving forward, to me, it is as if we are moving backward. All this have been eroded. Nobody talks about, how to put preventive measure, the healthcare sector, at least doing fumigation, fumigating everywhere, just like it is done in America.
Right.
There's mosquito in America.
Of course.
Some mosquito travel from Nigeria without visa
They make it there.
to make it to America. But they are able to curtail them by fumigating everywhere.
Right.
You're talking about sport. I remember I played sport. I played football. I was playing number 11.
Wow.
Outside left.
Just like myself, too.
I'm left.
That's impressive.
Yes.
I actually also played number 11 too. Look at that.
We used to go to Ogbe Stadium. We are all happy, see how we all supported Bender Insurance, Rangers, name it and all that.
Shooting stars.
Shooting star, And all those things are all eroded. But today we worship, we want to support, Arsenal, Man U and all that.
Yeah.
So we have derailed drastically for knowing that if you don't value what you have, somebody else will help you devalue it. And we have not respected what God have given to us. I remember in this country where we had Udoji. I don't know if you remember Udoji.
Undergo one.
Udoji, that means surplus. We have so much money, we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Where people in that country were coming to Nigeria to be asking for how they can help them.
Yeah.
But today, we remember the Ghana must go. We remember the Dubai coming to come and ask for funds from Nigeria. This is the safe country. Because God has blessed this country with everything, mineral resources, natural resources, human capacity. God has given it to us. But unfortunately, we have been our worst enemy. Why? Corruption has eaten us deeply, embedded in every home, everywhere, in every MDA's agency, in state, federal, local government, everywhere you go, even in the church, there's corruption everywhere. So it is an epidemic that we need a total orientation of our mindset so that we know that whatever you are doing, it is what you are able to do. The legacy you can leave behind that people will remember you for. All I'm saying, let us fast track
to be where we
ought to be. Because it's going to require the collective efforts of every patriotic Nigerian. Not just Mr. President alone. I know everybody want to blame Mr. President, but the governors, they are the major problems facing this nation. Yes.
I agree with you. In your opening comments, I see a lot of areas of mutual agreement. Now, you also said that, of course, the leaders have a role to play. So I want to...
Not just only the leaders. We Nigerians also have a role to... We have to blame ourselves because I contested. I could remember when I contested what I went through. The pain and agony. But so wonderful people, good people stood up for me. And God gave me the victory by using them. But there are some today, when election is ongoing, to be able to vote for somebody, you have to collect, you have to be paid some, kind of money so that you can vote for that person. That you have mortgaged your life, your future. So that is a total orientation that we must have to abide by to understand that, look, when you take money in order to vote for someone,
right,
you have no moral justification to challenge that person. Whatever he does or she does,
you've been paid.
You'll be paid.
All right. So let's take it a little bit deeper when we look at where we are, the condition of the country today. You spoke about, how you left the village to go to school. You went to the very, very good school in Benin City. She said it's actually one of the best. Today, we don't have those schools in place anymore. As a matter of fact, it would seem that public education of any kind
is eroded.
It's completely eroded. Also in the area of health, people are dying for what is completely preventable and even treatable. It's as bad as that. And in those two areas, health and education, I don't see any reason why the governors in the state can't solve it. Why do you think we have governors? And, there are some good governors, no doubt about that. We are not saying, it's not a blanket statement. But for the most part, in my view, a lot of the governors they have been incapable, especially since 1999, to transform education and to transform health. I wanted to ask you, because you've been a member of the House of Reps in 2015. You aspired, you ran partly for the Edo Juba in 2023. Why is it that governors can't sort out their states in the areas of health and education, Honorable, in your view?
That is the problems, the issues compounding every state in this country. The people of their various states are the ones responsible, because they don't ask questions. They don't challenge their governors. Rather, they rather want to point finger at Abuja presidency, forgetting that when allocation comes, governor takes theirs, federal takes theirs, local government takes theirs. Even the local government is being siphoned by the governors. So the bond of question here is that, have you asked your governor how the money, the allocation that's coming to the state have been expended? You must ask. The same way you are questioning Mr. President, you first and foremost ask your governor. I want to say that something happened. I want to have the opportunity to say, Mr. President, yet you mean well, but I'm sorry. Some of these governors, do they really mean well for this country? What am I saying? Remember the fuel subsidy removal?
Yes.
Trillions of money accrued from the fuel subsidy removals, saved by federal government. When people are blaming, why did you remove fuel subsidy? When Atiku contested, he said about he promised to remove fuel subsidy. Mr. Obi promised to remove fuel subsidy.
True.
When was promised to remove fuel subsidy? Every of the candidate promised to remove fuel subsidy.
Yeah.
And President Tinubu also promised to remove fuel subsidy,
right,
which he did. But do you know, after all this money be saved, I would have expected Mr. President to use that money by himself to control the money. But best known to our president, he gave the money back to the state. Money was given to each state, including FCT. But unfortunately, most of the money went to the voicemail, went to the pocket of the governors. Some of them, most of them, when the money came, a lot of them went to the Bureau de Change, changed the money. That's the end of the story. Have you asked the governor what they did with that money that Mr. President sent to various states? When they are blaming Mr. President, we were putting one finger and the other four is pointing at you.
Yeah.
So I want Nigerians to ask their governors. It was good intention that Mr. President did to solve, to coaching, to bring succor to the downtrodden, to help each state in this country. If they have used that money that Mr. President sent to each state, I tell you, the hardship what we are facing today wouldn't have been there. So maybe next time, Mr. President should think about this. Use that money. Be in control. Be in charge. Don't send money to any governors, any state. I'm not speaking for FCT today.
Yeah.
Look at what is happening in FCT.
Exactly. You have to give it to the guy.
Whether you like it or not, whether you hate him or like him, you must give it to,
Yeah, we are seeing
former governor, Wike. He have changed. Nobody ever thought that. There are some area now, I got lost when I was coming to this studio. I got lost.
Because of the changes on
Because of the freeway, the highway
configuration.
that is working. If every minister, I don't care if you are a bad minister, if you are bad in other ways,
But get your job done.
get the job done, that's what we need. We don't care. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Does it mean that we don't have other ministers that could also do more to put the government? Mr. President is doing a lot, but people are not seeing it. This money sent to various states, don't you think that money would have?
I mean, without a doubt, there has been a lot of conversation around the extra money that we got from the subsidy, and I think also from the devaluation of the naira. Some of the governors will say that yes, of course, all of them agree that more money has come in, but they say, oh, there is inflation and all of that. I think part of it is also trying to give an excuse. But I wanted to ask,
No, not an excuse though.
Yeah, on the part of the governors who couldn't make any demonstrable change and impact with the money. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I said their people should ask them.
Yeah, I agree.
Question them.
I agree.
What happened to the money?
To the money, yeah.
I think Mr. President needs to let Nigeria know on this particular issue. Trillion was sent. And those states got billions. But what happened to the billions? But what not happened? You are blaming the center when the states have already bastardized. I'm not saying all the states, most of the states.
Yeah. Anyway, so you. I mean, I know you since we were in the United States. You are a human rights activist and a good governance advocate, and we did have a number of protests.
People don't know that. They don't know about
they think our life started in 2015.
Yes. I'm telling you.
So we go way back, and that's why I describe you as a social crusader, because I know where you're coming from. But I wanted to ask you that. So, what do you think we can do to begin to significantly curtail the problem of corruption? And like you described, it's a huge problem, because it's not just the leaders, it's from the people. And when we talk about the leaders, I've made that point on this program, that the leaders did not fall from heaven. They came out of us. They are our brothers, our sisters, our husbands and wives, and fathers and mothers. But I want to ask you, so what is that thing, or one or two things that has to happen for us to give the problem of corruption, to give corruption a bloody nose?
Let me give you a story that happened. A student was in school, and the teacher told that young boy, told the class student, that they are going to take a group photograph, that they should tell their parents when they are coming, they should come out with 200 naira. By the time the child got home, the child told the parents it was going to cost 500 naira. The parents gave him 500 naira. The child got back to school. He told the teacher, he said, "I'm sorry, ma. My parents said they don't have any money."
Wow.
They couldn't give him any money. They don't have any. If she could, it was a female teacher, help, that by the time the parents have money, he will bring the money back to her. And don't forget, even the teacher, the principal said the cost of that photograph was 100 naira. The teacher added 100 naira to it. And the student also added, 300 naira.
To make it 500 to the people.
So now, what was funny? A child, took the 500 naira, never declared to the teacher at all. So, this is corruption of the mind. In all ramifications, in every sector in Nigeria, go down, look at it deeply, you smell corruption. When people are supposed to be engaged with employment,
right,
and you see the best person with first class, and you decide to go down because somebody gave you 100,000 naira, You ignore the one that had a first class and took the one that have no brain. That is corruption. It's not only just taking money that is meant to do government work, stealing public fund, that is corruption. But dealing with Code of Conduct Bureau, corruption that Code of Conduct have been fighting, it starts with every public officer. When your lifestyle is not commensurate enough
with your income,
with what you earn monthly or yearly, compare to what you have acquired. Somebody that is, level 8, having an estate in this FCT, level 8.
And that does happen.
True story.
Yes.
Now,
I know too.
That is corruption. So I'm appealing, and there's still hope for this great nation. Fighting corruption is everybody's business. It's your business, it's my business, it's our business.
Right.
Mr. President cannot fight it alone.
Yeah.
EFCC cannot fight it alone. ICPC cannot fight it alone. Code of Conduct either cannot fight it alone. It's going to require collective effort of every one of us to put this to rest, because it's a cancer that's eating us deeply. Are you talking about the undeclared crude oil that left this country to global destination? Billions of dollars.
Yeah.
That is outside this country. But what are we talking about? I have said this over and over again. I'm not afraid to say it, because based on what I have, it is sad, it's appalling. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world? Where are you going? Where are you taking all this money to? You've stolen Nigerian resources to the detriment of all of us, because of your selfishness. We have to be selfless.
And greed. Selfishness and greed. Well, I want to ask you, based on where you sit as a federal commissioner at the Code of Conduct Bureau, what is the extent of public graft that you are seeing? You don't need to be specific, but just give us an insight. Because what your bureau does is that you collect all the declaration, the asset declaration of all the elected and
public officer,
but it doesn't include civil servants.
It's civil servant, public officer, civil servant.
So does it include every civil servant?
Yes. Every civil servant, public officer have to declare.
That's a huge...
have to declare your asset.
Yeah. So
at the beginning
and at the end.
At the end.
So
failure to do so is a breach of the Code of Conduct meant for public officers.
Give us an insight into how your agency is fighting corruption.
Well, it has been abandoned for too long, for many years. But thank God to Mr. President and the National Assembly for coming to the aid of Code of Conduct Bureau, and also for Mr. President to find, at least bringing somebody that have the brain, that have the knowledge, the wisdom, the capacity to drive the Code of Conduct Bureau. We do have the current chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello.
Right.
A fantastic young man.
Was he a former Attorney General?
No. It was not a former Attorney General. That is, you're talking about the ICPC.
ICPC, yeah.
So I'm talking about Code of Conduct Bureau. He came, his background is from EFCC.
Okay.
And this man, since he came, sincerely, I can tell you a few months that they have been around, there's a total turnaround. So I am hoping for the best, because...
Should we be expecting...
yes.
The Code of Conduct to be more proactive?
Yes. I'm telling you, this young man is a godsend. I've said this over and over again. I don't miss words. And I don't praise people because I want to praise. I'm saying it because what I've seen, his vision. So I can tell you, those public officers that have refused to declare their asset, they are living above their means. They better watch their back, because the law is coming after everyone. No business as usual.
That's important.
There's a new sheriff in town. And I just pray to God that with the support that Mr. President have given, the National Assembly have given, in the history of Code of Conduct Bureau, we have never been supported financially. I'm talking about funding. They have been poorly funded to the extent that to put them in ASJET at the lowest, level.
Well, that is changing now.
Not just change, it has changed for the good, because we are being funded. We've at least, compared to what we used to have, what we do have now is something that will propel the Code of Conduct Bureau to the next level. And with the chairman and the board and the directors, everybody is now, feeling and having that knowledge that, look, we have no option but to key into the man's vision. And with the vigor, I think we'll go a long way. Okay. So I want to thank Mr. President for bringing him aboard and, hopefully the end will justify the means.
Okay. So, well, we'll be expecting the results.
And there's another question you asked, what we are doing, what I have seen so far.
Yes. Insight.
Let me say this. In this country, Code of Conduct investigated the former Accountant General of the Federation.
Okay, that is under trial. The one that is ongoing?
We investigated, but, the man that stole over 200 something billion of naira that was given chieftaincy title not too long ago.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, it's only this country. When you steal billions, you are celebrated.
And it was given the chieftaincy after you guys brought out the information.
Yes. And those who stole 10,000, 100,000 are spending 7-8 years in jail, in prison. So that is the double standard that we must do the right thing. It is sad that those that have stolen the resources of this country, they are living as if they are Alpha and Omega. So it is your right, Nigeria, to wake up. It's their money. When you see Nigerians that have bought so many properties in abroad, in America, in Germany, in UK, in Canada, Italy, report those people to Code of Conduct Bureau. Right. Chairman, CCB, report anyone that you believe that is living above the means, know fully that a man that just got employed not over up to 3 years is now owning properties, 7, 8 properties everywhere. You have to ask, how did you break the bank? Did you wait for robbery? Or is it pen robbery? Because you have pen robbery, you have armed robbery. So the pen robbery are the most dangerous one we are facing in Nigeria.
Okay, all right. Because of our time, maybe this will be the last question. I wanted to talk about, the political system. You are a politician. You came back. You left the United States, to come and work with then Governor Shemole, and since then you've done quite a bit of work even before you joined the National Assembly. I wanted to ask you that, do you think the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should commit to certain political reforms? For instance, the issue of beavers, electoral laws, independence of the National Electoral Commission, who is the chairman, and then how it is that cases, a lot of the electoral cases are ending up in the courts. So there's a panoply of electoral reforms. I wanted to ask you, what's your own vision and what will you request of the president, based on his democratic pedigree, that you believe he ought to do to fix our political system? Honorable.
I know it is always difficult to say what I'm about to say. When we say Mr. President, Mr. President alone cannot fix Nigeria. President Tinubu cannot fix Nigeria alone. I've said this, it is going to require the collective efforts of every Nigerian.
But somebody has to lead.
Hold on.
Somebody has to lead.
Now, Mr. President is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
He does have governors. There are governors, is it not? Whether APC, Labour, ABGA, or PDP. We have governors.
Yes.
And when money comes, allocation comes, they are shared across the 33 states, including FCT, and the federal government takes theirs.
Yeah.
Now, if the federal government is using the resources that is allocated to them, what about the state governors? I'm going back there. What about the state governors? What are they doing?
But now, I want to talk about political reforms.
Okay, hold on. I'm coming. You can talk about political reform from now to the kingdom come. If your mind is not polluted, is not already corrupted, you can bring the best reform today.
I see your point.
Now, you're talking about we have constitution,
Right.
we have laws. Do we obey the law that is in existence today? No, I'm asking.
Who should compel it? Because it's a question of impunity.
See,
and that's my point about government.
The reform is good. It's good to say, I'm going to do reform. But don't forget, we have a constitution.
Yes.
1999 as amended.
Yes.
Have we been able to adhere what is in the constitution? Most of us took an oath to defend, to uphold the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Have we done that? So when you talk about reform, we have problem with issue of INEC. I was robbed.
Yes.
I was robbed by INEC. I was robbed by the tribunal.
This was in 2019.
2020. 2020, yes. I was robbed where the INEC man who changed the result called, mistakenly dialed my number, thinking that he was speaking to the chairman of PDP to come and redeem the balance. Guess what? DSS did a wonderful investigation. They did everything. They went to defend at the tribunal. The chairman of the tribunal said the DSS report have no value. The DSS officer came to testify that his testimony is consequential. At the end of the day, the chairman of the tribunal, after dismissing 7 applications filed by PDP, he got a phone call while he was giving judgment. He excused himself with other 2 members. When this side came back and made a 360-degree U-turn, that I'm sorry, the DSS report have no value. The DSS, officer came to testify. Is it consequential? Oh, Honorable EJ, you are a complete gentleman. Please, the case is dismissed, but you still have opportunity to go to appeal. I went to appeal. Justice Iheme, who was the chair of that appeal panel,
yes.
That is the kind of person that we should, presidency, the federal government they should give that woman an award. Do you know they tried to swerve her, to bribe her? She refused. She was kidnapped because of my case. They kidnapped her and they killed the orderly. They took her in captivity for almost 30 days. They kidnapped her on Saturday. On Sunday, guess what happened? They gave judgment, the remaining 2 members. They gave judgment, they never said anything, they said case dismissed. It took us about 8 months to get the judgment. And what was the judgment? And those people that were involved, they confessed how they changed the result and they were apprehended and brought back to Abuja and charged for 5 count criminal charges. What has happened? You're talking about reform. Don't we have INEC?
So what happened to those people when they were brought to Abuja?
The case is still ongoing till today.
So is the case against the 2 other...
There are 5 of them. The one that called me, the DSS, if I tell you the story, because we don't have time to talk about it.
That was at the tribunal.
That's what the tribunal.
You're not talking about the appeal, where there were 3 appeal justices.
Yes. They kidnapped the woman was Justice who is now in the Supreme Court. Okay. That woman should be celebrated.
And now the 2 others, what did the 2 others do?
They gave judgment on Sunday. Okay. They didn't read anything. They said case dismissed.
And that was the end of the case.
That was the end of the case.
Okay. All right. So it's
not about reform. Reform. That cannot come. Listen to me.
What are we going to do?
Was there any reform? Was there any reform when Tomila was built? Was there any reform when National Assembly was built? Was there any reform when Asoro was built? Was there any reform when Hilti was built? Who built all this? Was there any reform? Was there any reform that LCT today? Look at the way it's been turned around. It is about conviction, commitment.
Okay, I agree with you.
It's talking about reform.
Honorable.
What about the one we have? Honorable. Have we exhausted it? Have we obeyed the one we have?
I agree with you. There's no disagreement about your point. What I'm trying to get you to understand and address is the better word, is that, so are we going to sit down? What are we going to do to change this?
Total orientation of the mindset. It's going to require all Nigerians, all of us.
A job for everybody is nobody's job. If you say that everybody has to do it, that means nobody's going to do it.
Let me tell you something. You are a Christian.
Yes.
I think so.
I'm a pastor.
Thank you. I'm also a pastor.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you this. Do you know the Bible, right? Mm-hmm. What does the Bible say?
Depends on what.
It says, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt love thy brothers and thy sister.
Yes.
Is it not? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, that's the Bible. Are we practicing that? Do we love ourselves?
No,
are we stealing?
We don't.
No, hold on.
That.
Are we stealing? So it is not the Bible. If really we want to look at this, just reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, the Holy Quran. I study IROK, Islamic religious knowledge, in secondary school. I also study BK. And I got A's in all of the above.
Okay.
None of that teaches hatred. None of that teaches killing. All of the above teaches love. Love, love. Love is God and God is love. So I'm telling you, if you bring, are you not telling me that we have to have a new Bible? The constitution that we have, listen, let us obey the law.
Okay.
If we obey the law,
all right,
all this will be put to rest.
Okay.
All this issue of talking about reform is just another way just to distract. Let us, first of all, obey the law of the land. We don't obey law. We don't.
Okay.
The judiciary, the executive,
right,
the legislature, all of us collectively, Nigerians, whether you are a Christian or Muslim, let us obey
the law,
the constitution, the law. Until we do that, let us not begin to say reform.
Okay.
What are we reforming?
Okay.
Let us reform our heart, our mind, our soul.
All right. Thank you so much. If we had time, we would have engaged further, but I'm sure that we are going to be engaging further outside of the camera. Thank you so much, my dear brother, Honorable E.J. Agbonayinma.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you for
an activist and a presenter and a one and only brother.
Thank you so much.
Friend.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your contributions.